Here we go. Getting live. Hey everybody. Looking for a few seconds, make sure everything is all right. And yep, seems to be okay. Trying to check out if everything's all right here. Yes, this is good. Hello everybody. Nice to have you all on board. And here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to this live tech show. This is tech show number 78. And we are Tuesday, May 23rd, 2017. This is a tech show where we answer your tech questions every week at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 hours Universal Time. And basically we try to answer to the best of our knowledge the little questions that come through email. And if anybody has some in the chat room, we try to see what we can do. And so, hey everyone, welcome aboard. And it's nice to have everybody here. There's a nice chat room, by the way, for those that are watching. It's kind of cool. You can participate. All you need is a Gmail account and you're ready to go. So why not check it out? Some really fine women and men there that are fantastic people, and hope you guys enjoy today's show. The way it works, of course, is I answer the questions that I get through the email first. outwithyourcomputers@gmail.com is where it all happens. And then we go to the chat room, and of course hope everybody has a lot of fun with today's show. And as Mr. Tim in the chat room is saying, yes, new milestone on the channel today, 30,000 subscribers and almost 12 million views. So I think it's pretty amazing when you think about it. When you start from scratch, from zero. I still remember starting the channel and thinking, yeah, okay, I want to start a channel. We'll see if people are interested in something. And you get your first views, and then you get 2 subscribers and 5 subscribers and 12 subscribers and so on. So really interesting. So we are here, and pretty cool to see everybody. And yes, I am sad at the death of Roger Moore. It's he's been my favorite James Bond ever. I mean, I was a big fan, and not lately. You know what? The latest James Bond, for some reason, don't really turn me on. But I was a big fan of the James Bond movies, and I gotta say, I grew up with Roger Moore, and I believe his first one was Live and Let Die, somewhere in 1973, and the last one he made was A View to a Kill, that has that great Duran Duran song as a theme in 85. So really nice. Was for me, there are different opinions, but for me, the best James Bond ever, for me. So hey everyone, and nice to have you on board. Of course, if you want to help me out, very important, because it does help me out a lot. Donations at patreon.com/radiantcomputers or through PayPal at the Yahoo email you see here. I've reached a milestone, but the problem is, even though my channel has been, growing at a fast pace. I've been having, like 20, 25%, 30% increase year over year and everything. It shows you just how bad AdSense is, because with such an increase, I'm still getting less money from YouTube. So it means that there's loss of revenue from all sorts of things. There's loss of revenue from ads not showing up. There's loss of revenue probably a lot of, I would be interested to see if ad blockers would not exist, the difference in ad revenue I would get. And so it shows you that my channel is growing fast, still the total incomes is going lower, so it just shows you how AdSense is crappy. So, PayPal donations and being a patron is something that really helps me a lot. If you like what I do, please, always, welcome. And it's very, very important. Helps me a lot in continuing this show. And, I'll take a little break in July, but I'll be back in August. And we'll see, because we got to do something, and I got to take a decision. If it doesn't get better, this year is the year where I take a big decision. So let's cross our fingers here that, if I've got enough help compensating, it really does help me a lot. And let's start with the questions. And yes, I'm really sad for everyone, for everybody, but you guys in the UK, you guys are getting things happening all the time. That what happened at the Manchester concert is this really sad, and it's just incredible, and it shows us that there's some bad people out there that want to always do bad things, and but we never need to stop thinking of the good side of the good people that are there to help, and the good people that want to help prevent these things from happening. And I remember having a discussion with a friend of mine. We were talking about extremism, and we were talking about how someday, I know here in Canada it's been quiet. Like I always say, someday, one of the things for sure is that, I was telling my friends, something's going to happen someday here in Canada for sure, but we got to just remember one thing. We got to continue our lives. We got to, I was seeing somebody yesterday saying, well, what we're going to do with, concerts and people being in the same place together. We'll always have gatherings. I mean, it's something that's cool. I mean, I like to go see concerts, and I like, here we were at the 375th anniversary of our city, and I was, can think of just looking at how many people we were gathered together somewhere downtown for all sorts of, events. And thinking, well, some crazy guy or some crazy asshole can at any time blow himself up, or, we haven't had that here, but, well, once somebody starts hearing about it, why not drive a truck through the crowd and kill tons of people, It's just really sad. And I think it's, something that you got to really be vigilant, and we got to do our best to help and to make sure that things go the best way they can in a very, very complex world we live in. So, hello everybody. We are starting the questions now. Let's check it out here. Okay, so we've got the questions, and the first question is about browsers and things like, questions related to browsers. I will answer here 3 people questions. I will answer Jacqueline McBride's question on Opera, which is broken after update. I will answer question from Fred that says hello, and mentioning that he's got a few questions, of course, importing favorites and stuff like that, keeping a backup of favorites and Edge, and of Arthur that says hello, love your shows, and he wants to know what are the most common problems with browsers that I see as a tech guy, which is an interesting question, actually, and might help actually a lot of people understand certain things. So we will answer your questions. So basically, what's happening here. Sorry guys, I got a little, just ate some dates. Okay, importing favorites from Edge to Firefox is very easy. You gotta go, when you go in Edge, Microsoft Edge has a new feature, and basically when you are in the Edge browser, what you can do is click 3 little dots on the upper right corner, go into settings. You've got a section that's called import from another browser in the favorites. Click that and export your export to a file. It says export to file. Click that. It's going to actually export all of your Edge browser into an HTML file. Save it somewhere on your computer that you know where you can fetch it, desktop or whatever folder you want it to, and save it there. So that's the first part. So once you do that, you'll have a file that contains your Edge favorites. And by the way, keeping a backup of Edge favorites, well, that's one way of doing it, because you can actually take that file, put it on OneDrive, put it on the Thumb drive, put it somewhere else, and keep a backup of this somewhere else. Remember, for one little thing, keeping a backup of Edge favorites, if you are logged in with a Microsoft account, remember that your favorites in Edge are automatically saved to the cloud. So if you have another computer, so for example, I have several Windows 10 computers running here, and basically what that means is that those computers are all syncing my favorites. So it's pretty cool, because it's just, you log into your Microsoft account in Windows 10, and after a couple of minutes you see your favorites in Edge, and it's kind of cool for that. So there's a form of backup also with that. But if you want to really make sure, you can save that file that you just exported. When you're in Firefox, you can take that HTML file and actually import to your computer. So in Edge, you actually have let me just check it out here. I don't use a lot of the functionalities of Edge, but so in Edge, you can actually go to the bookmarks. So if you right-click the top of the browser in Edge, you can actually click to add the menu bar. So at the top, you'll have bookmarks, and when you click there, you'll click Show All Bookmarks. And in here, you've got Import and Backup. If you click the Import and Backup, you can actually restore or import from an HTML file. This is a very standard way, by the way. If you export Edge favorites onto HTML, every browser I know I've ever used has the ability to import an HTML file with the favorites in them. So you click Import Bookmarks from HTML, you go into your folder where you actually saved the Edge HTML file, click on it, and you'll see that you'll have your Edge favorites that are going to actually be imported into Firefox. So basically, it's very, very interesting to know how to do this, because in HTML, and almost every browser lets you export in HTML if you want. So you can really easily put things in, exchange them between browsers depending on all the browsers you use. Opera browser broken after update. Why is it broken? What happened? You know what? I'm not sure, because I'm not in front of your computer. I don't know how you're using your computer and what's there. I use Opera on all of my Windows 10 machines, because instead of having 6 YouTube accounts within one browser, I rather have a different YouTube account in each browser. So I know that if I do the shortwave YouTube channel, I go in for my Opera browser. The Insider channel is my Firefox browser. The Windows channel is my Edge browser, and so on. I prefer working like this. It's kind of easier. I use Opera on all of my machines, including Insider machines. all I gotta say is mine, I have zero issues with Opera, even with the latest updates. So something must have happened. What? I'm not sure. The best thing you can do is to, first of all, you can in Opera, and let me just check it out here, Opera. If I look at Opera browser, so if you go into your Opera browser, even if you can't go to the web, if you can't open the Opera browser, in the Opera browser, you can go into, let me just check that out here. I need to, so you're in your Opera browser, you go into the menu on the upper left corner, and here you can click, let me just check it out here. You just check it out here. Won't be very long. Just looking, once again, I never use a lot of the menus here. You can actually go to, let's check, there's a kind of a reset option in Opera somewhere. So, just trying to find where it is. In that menu, you must have a reset option somewhere in the settings. And in the settings, you have browser stuff. And you can go way down, and there's a reset. You can reset Opera from here. So if you can get there, do that. If you can't get there, the best thing you can do at this point would be to uninstall it. So right click in Windows 10, you can right click in your start menu. And there go into apps and features. In here, you'll find the Opera browser. And even better, I think in Windows 10 Creators Update, let me just check it out. Yeah, apps and features. Find your Opera browser there. Click the uninstall button. So click the uninstall button, and from there you can of course remove Opera, or if you go into your control panel, you can right click. Once again, go to control panel, and if you go to the control panel, you'll be able to go into the programs and uninstall Opera. Make sure you uninstall Opera. Restart your computer. Go back to the website to get Opera back, and make sure that you reinstall it from there. A reinstall will have a pretty good chance to fix whatever happened to your browser. And be very careful, Jacqueline, because one of the things that I have, and I suspect from every question and everything that I've seen when I read your posts, you're using too many software for protection and for keeping safe, which is, by the way, not only useless because what you do is really keeping you safe, not the programs that protect you, but there's a tendency when there's too many of these programs, tendency to when too many security programs are there, when updates appear, when there's some things happening, it breaks easily. A lot of things. There's no sense and no positive points of using too much security software at all, except maybe having more problems than actually fixing problems. So just be careful with that. And common problems with browsers, as a tech guy, what I've seen as common problems, there's what I call the problems with browsers that is not a browser issue, and problems with browsers that is a browser problem caused by something else, and the browser itself with settings. So what I mean by that, okay, first of all, there's browser issues. I can't connect to the web. which are often, very often, have nothing to do with the browser itself. So people will say, oh, that damn Internet Explorer broke again. And when I get there and I fix, it's like, well, no, my Internet Explorer had nothing to do with it. You got a virus, you got something that changed the specifics of how you go to the internet. You know, there's one of the most common things that I've seen is a virus that actually replaces the host file with a copy of a host file that prevents you from going for tons and tons of websites. Well, that isn't a browser issue. It's just that a virus or a software has changed that host file, and now you have no more access. Another very common way of losing access that everybody says, well, you know, my browser's broken. Not, your browser ain't broken. It's just that there's a change in the DNS without the user's knowledge, or there's also a change in where your computer's being directed on the web, and it didn't break the browser. The browser isn't broken. The browser's actually in its way that it wants to connect, cannot connect to that new thing. So these are common issues. Browsers that are broken by third-party software. I was just talking about how too much security software breaks things. Well, I've seen many times Internet Explorer or Chrome or whatever browser that gives an error. It doesn't want to start anymore. And when you look at why it doesn't start, you find out that your antivirus put a add-on in your browser, and the add-on is broken, and it makes your browser crash. So once again, it's not a browser issue. It's a third-party software breaking your browser. It could be something that's not security. For example, I've remember many years ago of a problem with Adobe Reader that would add the PDF reading capability as an add-on in Internet Explorer. And when you launch Internet Explorer after it updated the Adobe Reader, it would crash. It would give you an error. It would say, well, you know, Internet Explorer doesn't work. And people would go crazy. But the problem was Adobe, not Internet Explorer. You know, it's like Windows problems. 90% of people will say, well, you know, it's Windows. And my experience is 90% of the problems in Windows are not Windows related at all. They are related by third-party software, drivers, or a mix of several software that actually interact with each other. So you got to be careful, you know, because it's easy to jump on the, oh, Windows is bad, you know, it crashes all the time. No, Windows is not bad and doesn't crash all the time. You know, the last version of Windows that really did crash a lot, Windows Millennium. Since then, I haven't seen a version of Windows that crashes. Windows XP was rock solid. Windows Vista was slow, but rock solid. Windows 8 was rock solid. Windows 10, every version of Windows 10 is rock solid. I see it as a tech guy everywhere. You know, you got to be careful with how and what you think, because a crash can occur because of third-party drivers that are bad, third-party software that is bad. And that's something that, you know, we don't really look at, because what we see is Windows, not the other things that are in the background and still running. So we got to be careful with that, because it's easy to blame, you know, the operating system. But 90% of the time, you know, especially lately, I'd say 98% of the time, it isn't even Windows 10 that's a problem. It's something is wrong with a piece of software or a driver of your machine, which is very, very common. Another thing that is not to take for granted in problems related to your computer, the BIOS. You know, BIOS have updates, and for most part, in general, they are okay. You know, and even if you don't update, it doesn't impact or change anything. Then you've got something that actually happens where you see that there's tons of problems on your machine. And if you update your BIOS, suddenly you see these problems go away. Another thing that is very common in problems with, you know, I'm not talking about browser issues, but computers in general, a bad power supply. Your power supply gives voltages that are that have too much variations. and your motherboard actually makes errors when it does what it needs to do. Your CPU actually has errors when it computes because the voltages are not stable enough. That's another common cause of everything is crashing all the time. And other problems with browser issues itself, well, you know what? Of course, viruses and malware, things like that. Lots and lots and lots of problems with, the settings. People have installed a piece of software or have the settings of, the settings are just, wrong. And then he's like, well, I can't access the web. Oh, your settings are wrong. Something's changed. It's not correct. But the browser itself being broken without interference from the outside world is something I don't see a lot. Yes, there are issues with the browser. Maybe outdated browsers that can't run, basically they can't render correctly a web page or something in the web page, stuff like that, and it's very very common that people haven't updated the browser or using an outdated browser, stuff like that. But most of what I've seen is third-party driven software that adds something to the browser, or you got malware, stuff like that. Okay, account security part 2. Interesting questions that come to us from a gentleman that is called Tom Atkins. Tom Atkins says, hello, I've been watching your show for many weeks now. Love it. So informative and easy to understand. Thank you for all you do. And yes, I want to thank you, as he's mentioned, he's done a donation. Thank you for your nice donations. Very, very, very important. And thank you very much. Really appreciate it, by the way. So the questions that he's bringing up are interesting. Okay, so first of all, he says that he's got a Twitter account and it's been, he's used a Twitter account for a little while, and he's got two-factor authentication thanks to my show because he's, understood that we have to do this to be secure. But now he's getting regularly Twitter codes, even though he doesn't go on Twitter and, of course, do the two-factor. He doesn't do anything. Even when he's like watching TV or doing something else, his phone will sometimes say, here's your code to access Twitter account. Well, you know what? I get that from time to time also, because my Twitter account is also two-factor authenticated. And what happens is, if you receive that, it means some little idiot somewhere is trying to get into your account. Very simple. It's somebody that thinks he's going to be able to get into your account. So he's trying out ways to get into your account, but of course it always sends the authentication code all the time. So that means just keep an eye on your account and make sure that you stay safe. Somebody's playing with your account. I get that from time to time. When you get, in my case, you get popular like me. Although popular is very relative, by the way, but when you get more popular, what happens is you start getting people that start trying to get your access to your accounts just to try to screw you. So two-factor authentication is a must once you start doing things like I do. Because and I put it at the highest level. You just can't get in without a code on my phone. So no way you'll ever get in, and so that's the best that you can do. And remember, like I said last week, be careful of the other things that they can get into your account with, like questions and stuff like that. You're asking an interesting question. You say that, how does the Google Authenticator work? Because he says you've been having a lot of difficulty setting it up. You know what? The Google Authenticator is the worst piece of crap that could exist on Earth for authentication. once it's set up, it's fine, but man, it's so bad in the way that you have to set it up because it takes time to understand how to do it. So you have to install the Google Authenticator on your phone, and then once there, you've got to go into your Gmail account and choose, okay, you've got an app for that, and it's the Google Authenticator, and it's going to add, give you a way to add it to the Google Authenticator, and boy, it's so complicated. And then it gets even more complicated the day that you actually change your phone, because now you got to move that to a new phone, and Google Authenticator actually not only installs that on your phone, it actually does another thing. It actually links all of that to your phone. Meaning, say you've lost your phone, and you want to get into your Gmail. Now it's going to say, two-factor authentication, give me the code. You'll have to enter another way to enter into your account. So hopefully you've got some other way to do it. Once you do that, okay, I want to add my new phone with Google Authenticator. Now it gets really complex because it's going to say, oh, well, to get into Authenticator, and that's the idiot part. It's going to say, oh, well, okay, we're going to change phone, but can you give me the authenticated code that I just sent you? Hey, I don't have my phone anymore. You feel like saying, hey, what's that idiot question suddenly? Because I don't have my phone. And it's very complex to turn around, say, no, I'm not with that. I need to add that to a new phone. I lived with that 2 times with an iPhone. And it was even worse when I moved from an iPhone 5 to my Galaxy S7 phone. Boy, was it complicated. The last question you've got is best way to get two-factor authentication with your Outlook.com account. Well, that one is nice. You know why? Because Microsoft understands things. Oh, by the way, and last thing that I got to say here, if you got an Android phone, I know you don't because you said you got an iPhone 6. If you got an Android phone, the beauty of authentication with Google is that you can actually link your phone to it in a way that instead of annoying codes, it's actually just going to display on your phone. So for example, if I get into one of my Gmail accounts from another computer, it's going to say, oh, please accept the login with your phone. And my phone has on the screen do you want to log into your account, yes or no? And so you press yes, and it unlocks on your PC. So that's a beautiful way of doing it if you have an Android phone. As for the Outlook.com, whether an iPhone or an Android phone, just install Microsoft Authenticator. This one's a beautiful app. Microsoft understands how to do it right. So basically, what you do is you install that app, you link your Outlook account with that app in your security settings in Outlook. And you know what? All you got to do after that is once you get into your account from any other device, it's going to say, oh, you want to approve the connection, and it puts a little code there. And you don't have to enter it. You go to your device, your phone, you just click on you touch the Microsoft Authenticator app. And there it's going to say, oh, you need to approve J294HC. So if the code match, it's the same connection. All you have to do is click the approve button. You don't have to enter the code. You just click the approve button. It's like it unlocks immediately and it works fine. There's the same, in every account you have, two-factor authentication is very, very important. Don't forget about that. And thank you for your questions, and thank you for your donation, by the way. Other questions coming with Windows 10 S, because questions bring other questions sometimes. And this one comes from Andrew. Andrew says, hello, I am a big fan, as usual, and I'm sending you a few questions to answer. Thank you very much for taking the time to help us out with our technology. Question he's got, he's ordered a Surface laptop. You lucky bum. I want one. So these are the Surface laptop. What version of Windows you're getting there? Windows 10S is what comes on Surface laptops. Now, the good side of it, if you don't want to have it, you as a user Windows 10S and a Surface laptop, you can upgrade to Windows 10 Pro for free if that's what you wish. Windows 10S and security, you're asking. You were saying in the last show, it is more secure. Can you explain it a little more why it's more secure than regular versions of Windows 10? Very simple. It's a version that you can only install apps from the store. That removes a way of installing something that is what Windows always been about. Installing just by clicking and having the setup go through. So it makes you very secure because every virus that you get comes from a program that not only wants to install but wants to run within your Windows operating system. So basically, if you would get a virus from the web, for example, in the most part, because it's not 100% thing, but in the most part it's much better because it's a lockdown system, like iOS for iPhone, iPads. That lockdown system actually secures you. Yes, it puts tremendous limits on what you got to do, what you can do, but it secures you a lot because it just prevents all of that from running. The only thing that can run are the things that come from the store. So this makes Windows 10S tremendously safe compared to regular versions of Windows 10. It makes Windows 10S essentially being able to run without an antivirus if you want, a little bit like iOS. So it's kind of nice for that side. And it could be something that is is a good deal, and it's something good for anybody that actually wants to stay safe and don't really mind using anything else than Edge and just have already everything they need. And you're asking, you say, I remember hearing you talking about Google Chrome and Firefox not coming to Windows 10S. Can you explain why this is happening? So, of course, with Windows 10S, is Microsoft Edge is your main browser. The reason why Chrome and Firefox will probably never come. And, okay, I will say one thing here. Microsoft did say that you'll have to run Edge, and the reason they did say that is because the regulations with apps in the Windows Store make Windows 10S very complex for some pieces of software. One of them is browsers. If you have an iPad or an iPhone, anybody that has something from Apple like that, you'll go to the store and you'll see that there's a Chrome browser, a Firefox browser. They aren't real Chrome and Firefox browsers. They're kind of Safari with an updated interface that looks like Chrome and Firefox, but at the bottom and the basic part, it ain't a Chrome browser, it ain't a Firefox browser like we are used to having on Windows, for example. And the reason of that is restrictions within how you can access the web through an iOS device. Same thing happens with Windows 10S. Microsoft, in its rules in the Windows Store, they say, look, the only thing that you can do if you want to have a web browser work in our in Windows 10S, you need to access the web, you need to use the Edge web kits. So the JavaScript and everything that goes with it, HTML5, the version that Edge has, needs to be used in order for your web browser to work. So this puts a really huge no-no to pretty much everybody that makes a browser, because they don't want to. They want to use their own engines, which cannot be the case in Windows 10S. And because of that also, it means Chrome, Firefox, Opera would need to be totally rewritten from scratch, which unless Windows 10s would suddenly be 2 years from now, a fantastic success and run on 90% of computers. I don't see any browser maker really rewrite their browsers for that and take the time to do it, because it's also a question of for basically staying safe, and for basically having something to work in Windows 10s, they need to see why they should do it, which is very complex at the moment. So thank you for your questions, my friend. Random questions are coming to us also with Stephen Mail, which has a very nice post of all sorts of questions and little things that are coming to his mind, as he called them, rants. And yes and no. I mean, they're legitimate, questions and legitimate things that that actually show, how a user, what type of user you are versus what type of user everybody else is. So, several questions that can be, put into these little things here that I've posted. So first of all, he wants to know and ask about the new AI assistants: Amazon Echo, Google Home, Cortana, Siri. He says, I can tell you from experience, I never used Cortana. Every once in a while, I test it. How many people that actually use these products on a desktop computer? How many social media apps people use? That's another question coming soon. So, okay, Amazon Echo, Google Assistant, Cortana, any other. Here's the thing with that. I do not think that a desktop user uses that. I do not, in all of the clients I see, have anybody use any of these assistants. Okay, even on phones, I've never, except for a good laugh at a bar with your friends, I've seen anybody use Siri or Google Voice really actively. Now, that said, I actually use these assistants probably a little more than the average. Not a lot. Not like all the time. But I've got to say, I'm with friends or I'm doing something, I want to know what's the weather, I now have really that ability that my head is, I want to know what's the weather, what's the temperature outside. I will now always use Cortana. I always do, hey Cortana, what's the weather like? And
it's partly sunny and 19 degrees right now.
So
and today's forecast shows mostly cloudy skies with a high of 20 degrees and a low of 12 degrees.
So, I have started using this for the weather. I actually have started using this for trivia things that sometimes you wonder about. So, for example, I'll give you a great example here again. That what I would do. Somebody would tell me today what age Roger Moore was when he died. So I would say, hey Cortana, what age was Roger Moore?
Roger Moore was 89 years old when he died in 2017.
So now, yeah, I've got an answer. So you know what? I actually find that they are great for quick little things like that. Instead of going in the browser, starting to search the web, what age was Roger Moore and everything, you get it here. So I've started using it for these little purposes. Now, once again, your question is, You want to know how many people that I know, and you know, what do I think of this? The thing is, basically, it's nobody uses it, but the one thing that comes to mind that's interesting here, okay, is the assistance, the standalone assistance, which can be interesting. Nobody on the desktop uses, Cortana. I've never seen anyone use Cortana on a desktop. It's a little easier on the laptop because integrated microphones make it easier to use. I still don't see a lot of people using it, but I could see a market for the standalone assistants that are, like the Google voice thing, and the any of those Amazon Echo thingies. You know what? They are interesting, and people that buy them because they use them, and most of them will like that, and it's easy to navigate through, and they're getting better all the time at doing whatever you want. So you can now ask these assistants to do something for you, or to play some music for you, or to play the audio of a specific show for you, or it's there. Now, I ain't using this very often, and I'm the tech guy and kind of like a little bit of gadgetry. So of course, by using Cortana a little bit like that, I kind of like it. But that's pretty much, for me, using that is really at the level of just, quick questions that I know will have quick and good answers immediately, basically. Even though I could add I did a video about this, adding a appointment with Cortana is so easy in the calendar. Yet when I get an appointment in the calendar, I usually just, go into my Google Calendar and just type it myself. I don't use, I don't have the reflex to use Cortana for that. Maybe I should, because it's kind of cool. Another question you've got. Most of those adults would say Facebook and Twitter are what they use for social media. Younger people, Instagram, Snapchat. Seems the world has changed in most of our lifetime. So you're wondering about how many people use social media. Social media is a fantastic, has so many users. I am a Facebook user, a Twitter user. And yes, you're pretty much in sync with the reality when you say what young generation, new generation uses. Although Facebook is used a lot with the young generation also. I have a Facebook page that has a couple of hundred people in there. A lot of them are young, much younger than me, and I gotta say that they are Facebook users also. Now, if we look at the top social media sites, okay, for 2017, what's being used the most right now, in order of popularity, let's just look at it here. Most popular, and these are numbers that are really very recent and that are official. There's a little graph here. Facebook's number one, followed by YouTube, because YouTube is kind of yes, it's a video site, there's a social side to it. Just look at how I interact with you guys, for example. So YouTube is also a kind of a social thing. Then number 3 is Instagram. Number 4 is Twitter. Then there's Reddit, Vine, Ask.fm, Pinterest, Tumblr, Flickr, and it goes on. But I think in the first 4, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, we got 99% of everybody on social media, probably. But it all depends on what you do and how social your life is, and everything. Also, and a lot of people are scared of these social sites, I can tell you that. Also, We're talking about the WannaCry virus. Yes, 98% of the people, or the computers infected by WannaCry, according to Kaspersky, were basically Windows 7 machines. And of course, Windows 7 machines in enterprise are machines, and machines in general in enterprise are machines that are very often not updated very fast. That's why all of this is happening. But you've got a question that is, say that Windows 7 in 2020, because 2020 is the deadline for Microsoft. Say that in 2020, Microsoft would still be if you know it is 25%. And your question is really like, if it's 25%, would it be, would I, would they still, will they extend the support like they did with Windows XP, which is still around 9 to 10%? You know what? First of all, support in Microsoft works as a 10-year thing. Okay, you say I was hoping you could move support for Windows 7 earlier, say 2018. First of all, Microsoft, when it does a operating system, ensures that the support for it will be 10 years. So the 2020 date comes from the fact that Windows 7 was released somewhere around 2010. It's a 10-year thing. Now, why people still use Windows 7 is, you say you do not understand why people are still using this out-of-date, 8-year-old system. And the thing is, because you aided Windows 7, as you said, had a lot of problems. Windows 7 is an operating system that, you had a lot of problems, but in general, Windows 7 is a very, very tough and very, very good operating system. Why people aren't moving? Because they don't care. You are, and remember that's something that all of you out there need to know and need to understand. One of the very important things is that people that are here looking at what I'm doing today are not the average user. You guys are much more advanced than the average user. You actually are interested in technology to a point that you actually look at a guy on YouTube talk about it, rant about it, and so on. You're not the same kind of people than the general population. General population doesn't care, will not watch a show like this, and they got Windows 7, it does what they want. They don't really care about the rest. So that's the most accurate response to why people are on Windows 7 is that they'll get Windows 10 the day they buy a new PC. You guys would be surprised at the amount of clients I have that actually tell me, you know what, after this PC dies, I'm not getting another one. And that is something I hear very often. So they just don't care, they don't really care moving on to something else. A lot of people are scared. Hey, moving to Windows 7, from Windows 7 to Windows 10, I will go crazy. And it's something that it is something that is basically simply user driven. They don't really care. Now, I really do not think that they will extend Windows 7 for a very simple reason. Their aggressiveness in saying to everyone, just move on to Windows 10, lets me think there will not be an extension. And a lot can happen from now to 2020. Yes, Windows 7 is 48% of PCs. It's almost half the computers around the world right now. I don't know. But I don't think they'll get it. I don't think they'll give an extension. I think they're going to really push it hard on these people. But you know what? Microsoft has often backed off from a lot of decisions in the past. They did give an extension to Windows XP support for a very simple reason. There were still a lot of XP users. So who knows? They could, do it. It's not something that's out of the question, but I think because of the aggressiveness they're having with Windows 10 right now, they will not do that. Other question you got is, do you use a lot of apps on Windows 10, or do you still use the internet? You find yourself still using apps more and more, and you say, disjunction, I would rather use iOS or Mac before I ever used Windows 7. Okay, one of the things about apps is that I use certain apps, yes. I will, I use the Yahoo Mail app that unfortunately I'm sad that it goes away, because even though it's not perfect, it actually was interesting to use for my Yahoo account with everything I do with it. I use the Twitter app, which I find pretty good actually, and find it much better than using the web interface to use Twitter. So I use the Twitter app from the store. I used Yahoo, which doesn't exist anymore. I'll probably put my Yahoo account into my Windows 10 Mail app, basically. My usage of apps or no apps, because my usage of apps is limited to a few apps, is mostly a question of getting used to it, because a lot of the things that I do by just, habit. My habit is, I go on Facebook.com through my web page, through the browser. I go to, I will go to several websites that actually do several things that apps are available for that. So it's a question of just being used to it and doing it differently, because personally I like apps, and if there's an app that's good enough to do something that I do regularly, yes, I will use apps, and that I have no problem with that. But a lot of people don't use apps, I can tell you that. Okay. Lack of apps in the Windows. Okay, so first of all, he wants to say that before he uses Windows 7, he would, he would go to a Mac computer before, or an iOS computer, or system before using Windows 7. You also talk about browsers. You say that you use different browsers, but the number one browser for you is Edge, 2 is Opera, 3 Firefox, 4 Internet Explorer, finally Google Chrome. So basically, and you say, if you continue a little bit, you mainly use Windows 10. Do not use antivirus except Windows Defender. Love Windows 8.1, and yes, Vista. No, Vista was the same core as 7, but looked a lot better. Used to use Internet Explorer. In fact, I really like 64-bit version in 8.1. Could this be used in Windows 10s? By the way, Windows 10s does not get it. Why are so many? Okay, so Internet Explorer will not work in Windows 10s because it's not a app. It's a desktop 32-bit program or 64-bit program. So Internet Explorer is out of question in Windows 10s. It probably will not be even in the folders anywhere for you to get and use, because Windows 10s blocks that way of using programs. So no, Internet Explorer will not be in Windows 10s. It will not run in Windows 10s, and you cannot have it run there. And finally, say, why are so many people complaining about the lack of apps in the Windows 10 store? What major apps are missing? Do not include iTunes or Chrome. I know most people have gone mobile, but I use my desktop and laptops. And so, and finally, he uses a smartphone, doesn't have data plan, do not plan on getting a data plan. And so, what do I think about what's missing in the store? It all goes, the lack of apps in the Windows Store is dependent on what you do. So, for you, what's in the Windows Store was okay, and you got along with it, and you're okay with that. And you don't use iTunes, and since you don't use Chrome, it's okay because you don't really care these are missing. But it's a big thing that iTunes is coming to the store because it is the second most popular program in the world in Windows. Yes, Firefox or Chrome is missing in the Windows Store. Yes, there should be a version. That is something that needs to be there because most people don't want to use Edge. What else? It all depends on what you do. There's lack of really good social apps. I mean, the Facebook app I do not like. I've tried it a few times. I'll try it again today after the shows. I could not. I was going crazy with the Facebook app. I'd rather go on the web directly. There are, in what we mean also by there are missing a lot of apps in the Windows Store. When you get to an operating system that will use the Windows Store to download stuff, one of the things that you got to remember here, you got to remember here is that a lot of people do a lot of things that they see on other platforms. The problem of Windows Store with the lack of apps is getting that app that everybody is using right now. Okay, the idea behind this is that, and I am like that. If I'd have a Windows phone, I'd go a little crazy over, well, okay, I don't have anything that I can, that people show me on their computers. So, that's the lack of apps. A good Windows Store would have the latest apps of everything that's coming out. Just like from the couch show with my nephew Gabriel. He's got an iPhone, I've got an Android phone, and you know what? Rarely is an app missing from Android that he's talking about. At the other side, rarely there's an app that I use he doesn't have. And that's what you want. People want to have the same game, the same app that does this thing. And that's where the Windows Store is a problem. Because you'll get, I see it, almost everybody that has a Windows phone and my clients have many times mentioned, well, it's missing this app that, or do you think that app works? Because I'm trying to I'm trying to do the same thing that my friend's doing on his iPhone, but I can't seem to find the app in the Windows Store. Well, yeah, it doesn't exist. So it is something that the lack of apps comes down to that a lot. So by lack of apps, we mean I can't do what most people do with their phones because most of these apps don't exist. If you look at the basic apps, there's a Facebook app, there's a Twitter app, there's, it's missing browsers. iTunes coming is pretty cool because that is something missing for a lot of people. But it's very, very complex and doing things. Now, Microsoft's pushing a lot of different options to bring some of these apps, but with Project Centennial, the taking of desktop 32 programs and converting them to store apps. But yet, one thing that's difficult with that is that most apps using Project Centennial to move them from Windows desktop apps or programs to store app, a lot of them don't comply with Windows 10s, for example. Even though it would appear there, it would work on a regular Windows 10, but not be available in Windows 10s. Things like that. But it all goes down to what you do with your technology. It's as simple as that. So some people don't care about the Windows Store missing on apps because they do what they want in that set. But a lot of people that use a lot of apps and a lot of things and that, look at their friends and family with their iPhones and Android phone, they look at Windows Store and they're like, okay, well, that app doesn't exist here. And the lack of apps turns really comes down to that basically. Okay, business questions. Two questions. Well, two people. Sorry. And by the way, Stephen, thank you very much for your nice question. Stephen Mail in Aurora, Colorado. Very nice observation, and it's fun to talk about that from time to time. It's pretty cool. Alexander Eric in the Ukraine is actually asking me an interesting question, and there's also a question pertaining to business that comes to me from from Susan that lives in California, that has started a business and has questions. So Alexander asks about how to create and get a logo for his Facebook page. It's a legal page, and basically he wants to know how could he get a logo for all of that. I went through, you know what, I went through the internet a little bit to see if free of charge you could do something with a logo. Problem with logos is they are creative content, so most websites and almost everything I've seen actually charge you for a logo that you could use. So of course your idea probably behind this is to do it, to have a way to do it free. Now remember one thing about logos: the best thing about a logo is to get it in vector format, because the difference with the vector format is simply that it's scalable to whatever size you want. So that's the first thing you will need to do. Okay, have it in a vector format to make sure that whatever size you'll put it always looks nice, because it adapts itself to the resolution that it needs to be, so it still looks nice and sharp. You know what? Making a logo is actually very simple. It's just a little bit of creativity, and if you don't want to pay a penny, what I would suggest is make yourself a little name. So you've got a name here, probably driven from that legal page. So basically what I would say is, why not do that little name, take that name you've got and first of all use it. And what you could do is take a picture, you know, if you want to be a little creative. If you want to do a logo, you need to use pictures that have no legal side to it, so no copyright or anything. And you gotta, you know, it's interesting for that to make sure that, you know, if you do a Google search, for example, you can go into the Google search, go into Google Images, make sure that you choose in the options of picture searches anything that has, you know, that you can actually legally use and reuse without permission of anybody. That's very important, so that you don't get sued because you're using the logo of somebody else. And you know, use a program like GIMP if you want to do it. GIMP will enable you to actually do vector scroll or vector pictures, or save into vector format for a scalable logo. For the rest, be creative. I know there's a lot of restrictions on size, and one of the interesting thing there is that for one of the interesting things about that is, yes, you do need sometimes specific sizes. For example, a Facebook page will require you to have a specific size on a specific size on the what you will put there. You know, another thing that's important to know is that, so if you do specific things, if you do a project that will require certain sizes, specific sizes, once again, GIMP, you take whatever you're doing, and make yourself a cute looking little logo. And with GIMP, you can actually say, hey, I want to move that to this size, and GIMP will let you do it. GIMP will actually let you simply take that image, that picture, that logo, whatever, and say, hey, I'm gonna load this to a certain size so I can use it on a Facebook page or YouTube page. That famous picture of the YouTube page that you do at the top. There's specific sizes that need to be used there. So you can actually create logo ready sizes that you save on your computer of specific size for different platforms you will be using, Facebook, YouTube, and so on. So GIMP, G-I-M-P, GIMP is a Photoshop-like program. It will let you enable you to do your own little logo by yourself if you want. It's not that difficult. Inspire yourself by looking at logos on the web. Go to Google and type logos, for example. Look at how they're made. Most of them are very simple. So you can actually do that and basically save it in vector in vector format so that they can be scalable easily. And once that is done, man, you just take it and you load it to whatever size you'll need. It's gonna work. And you just check something here. So the just check here. So okay, so basically what you want is really to have something that is made in vectors so that it always will be able to load to whatever size. That's the cool thing of using it as a vector image, because they adapt themselves. So whatever size you'll put it, it's always going to stay nice. So you need to have vector graphics for that to work well. It's a very nice format that actually adapts itself to whatever size. So that's why you're going crazy with size. But if you have a vector graphics, doesn't matter the size, because you'll be able to use GIMP and resize it to whatever you want. It still will look very nice and it's going to work. If I find anything else, by the way, I'll send you a little email to let you know. Okay, also questions that we got today is business cards, online services. And the question is, I know you're a tech guy, you must have business cards. Yes, I do. What business card, where do you print your business cards? I find that local shops are very expensive, and I want to know if there are places that are less expensive. You know what? I've been doing my business cards online via personally a service called Vistaprint that I love. Works a gazillion times better than going to the local shop here. Costs 10% of the price of going to the local shop here. To give you an idea about the business cards, I used to pay $500 for something like 5,000 business cards. And when you go to when I went to Vistaprint, it was like, whoa, okay, here I got 5,000 business cards for $69.95. It's like, what, really? So it's amazing because it's way less expensive, and there's tons of templates. So if you never did a business card, if the business card is the business cards, there's templates that are very nice, and actually I used a template, but you can also upload your own pictures and your own information if you want. It's easy to do, very easy to set up. Takes a week to 2 weeks, for example, and basically it's very, simple. It's like you just do it. It arrives in the mail. It's cool. Doesn't cost a lot of money. So there's tons of services online that are very, very cool for that. Very, very cheap. The only thing, be very, very, very careful with your business card. For a very simple reason. First time I actually used an online service, I ordered the minimum. The minimum. Hey, can someone take that PM EDT before I kick him in the fucking butt? Thank you very much, Bobby Burgess, because I'm gonna go crazy. Okay. So, anyways, it's simple, but it's very simple. But business cards online are cool for that. Be very careful. Like I said, I ordered a small amount, and basically a small amount to make sure that the quality is what you really want. And if once you've done that, every website, like for example, every website will of course let you save your template. So for example, if I need business cards, I don't have to do anything. I go to Vistaprint and I just click on my account. It always shows me my business card that I've been doing all the time. All I have to do is say, hey, can you print me 10,000 of those, please? Very inexpensive. Vistaprint I like because the quality is very beautiful. The cards I've got are amazingly nice. I think I got an example here. It's an amazing little thing here. Here it goes. This is one. I'm just gonna blot out the phone number here, but they look very professional. Very, very nice cards. You can have them glossy or not. So basically, the back of the card here, colorful, very nice. One of the biggest problems with cards is that the colors, once you want to have colors in your card, is just horrible. So basically, it's I love that service. It works well, and be careful because once you click that finished product, they are telling you, look, if you've ordered 10,000 cards or 5,000 cards, if you ordered 10,000 cards or 5,000 cards, simply, basically, make sure that there's no typos, because you are responsible for the business card. So if they say, hey, there's a typo in the phone number, they're not responsible. And I totally agree that. It's very, it's normal that it's your problem if you didn't write it correctly. So it's interesting to see the the product and everything that you do. But Vistaprint is the one I use, and I love Vistaprint, that's for sure. And you also asked that, okay, so you've got a business selling car parts, and you are asking what you could do to make your company more visible. And so I don't have a lot of details about what you're doing in your email, but one of the things you need to know is, okay, first of all, what is the market that you're selling to? For example, I've got a tech job business. I do not want to have somebody calling me from the UK saying, hey, my computer's dead, can you come over? That'll be a really expensive call. It's going to cost them several thousand before I got to take the plane and everything. But seriously, you don't want to have people out of the range where you do your business. But one of the first thing, make yourself a cool, nice looking website that explains very well what you do, and you can have websites for free hosted. You can have you can have also some some paid service like Squarespace, stuff like that that are fantastic with templates and all the services there. If you want to sell online, for example, if you want to do online businesses, I really suggest that you take a service like Squarespace, for example, because they have a host of every service needed, even credit cards and everything. And basically, it's simply, first of all, make your web presence. Don't pay for any companies that say that they will make your company more visible. Doesn't work like that. Who cares? But you can pay for ads. You can pay for your website to show up easily in Google. You can also pay for all sorts of publicity. One that I've tackled with, for example, is buying some. In Google, there's Google AdSense. That's the part, like, for me, where I get paid by the ads of YouTube, for example. But at the other end, of Google AdSense, it's called, Google AdWords. Google AdWords is another side to Google, and it's the I want to have an online ad business. And you can have different types of ads, little banners, videos, whatever. You know what? I did dabble with Google AdWords ads for my tech business. And one of the things that's nice is it's not super fantastic, but it works to a certain point, in a certain extent. And of course, you will control totally where your ads are shown on on the web, and what's the you don't want to have your ad shown to somebody out of your business range, so you will choose where these ads need to show up. I've had some success with that, getting a few clients through ads, but be patient, do content. A lot of what you could do to make your online presence visible is social media. Create a Facebook page related to the business. Link it, with your social media site with your friends and stuff. And have, you don't annoy anybody, but you can ask your friends, hey, you want to share my new, business page on Facebook and stuff like that. These actually work very well. They cost nothing, and will give you more online presence. And of course, the bigger the websites, one of the things that people don't know very often when they put an online presence is the bigger the traffic from somewhere comes, the more your rating for your website is. For example, it's simply one of the things that is happening is simply that when you do a YouTube video, for example, explaining what you do, show your face, show how you look cool and you look nice, and do a little something. And you know what? And by having a little video like that, you have a really powerful site. And embed that video within your little website and say, hey, you know what? This adds good big sites that actually link with each other and with your own website. It helps your website actually show up better for a lot of people. And like Danny Shortwave saying, and that is the case, there's too many people that try to say, oh, you know what, I am an expert in making your company rank better. They are all scams. Nobody will help your business get online presence, more important online presence, or show up better. There's no such thing. These are scammers. They pretend that you can have a more visibility with your website. Don't believe them. Doesn't exist. You can immediately submit your websites to Google or Bing, but don't worry, even if you don't submit it, every new content there's like Google robots that go through the web all the time. They actually will find it. Make sure that the title of your web page. Now, okay, there's two things here. There's the URL and name of maybe a company, but everything in Google is pretty much online through Google search, for example, with the 250 words, the first 250 words that is encountered when the Google bot gets to your website to add it to its searchable index. 250 words are checked. These will be the keywords. So if you have a carport company and the 250 first words are or have nothing to do with the car parts or what you do, you're actually not going to have business driven by that for people that search for car parts, for example, because it's not indexed like that. So in the first 250 words, that includes the title of your web page, the first paragraph that's there. Make sure you've got the most important keywords of what you're doing. It's car parts. Well, you better make sure that you got names of companies that make cars and names of types of parts that you sell or do, and in keywords of what you do exactly. So and yep, this the best thing that you can do with a website is have, of course, your own domain name, for sure. And good luck. And don't get scammed by anybody. Nobody can make your, it's like, I get, look here on YouTube. I get on YouTube probably 10 to 15 requests every month of somebody saying, hey, you want to have more views? Click here, we can do something with that. Once again, don't believe it. These are scams. They're trying to steal your money, and that's it. So don't pay for anything like that. Hey chat room, hello there. How are you? I see some of you are saying that there's no ads or things. I gotta say one thing about ads on YouTube. First of all, there's a lot less ads lately than there were in the past. Okay, so if you're wondering, hey, I haven't seen an ad, or I haven't seen a lot of ads. Well, for example, on the live show, there's a lot less ads. First of all, second, the more you look at ads, the less ads you will see, for a very simple reason. It's that the thing is that the ads that you see, if they kind of notice that you're just looking at ads and letting all the ads through, they might actually display less ads, because they simply are going to say, well, that's not real traffic. And of course they have their IP address, so they know that they can actually lower the amount of ads everywhere. Other things with ads on YouTube is, of course, Great Old Pearl's going crazy with ads. One of the things that you will see is that there's an increase of 6-second ads. I've noticed that my videos have been dominated by 6-second ads that you cannot pass. And sit down and make the best of it, because 2018 there will be only 6-second ads on YouTube, which, I find it all right. And one of the things that I gotta say is 6-second ads, I don't really care. I don't mind watching 6-second ads for any video that I watch. It's really quite all right. And you know what? I always remember one thing, is that the ads are what's paying a lot of us. I got my AdSense revenue this week, and I gotta say one thing: if there were no ads here, okay, one of the things that is happening is that if there were no ads and no revenue coming from this, I would not be here, and I would not have constructed big channels like I'm doing. So basically, just make sure that you're really going to have be happy with all of that. So 6-second ads coming in 2018. That's going to be pretty cool. So 6-second ads, I'm not annoyed at 6-second ads, by the way. They are okay. They are quite okay, basically. But yes, 45 seconds or 30 seconds or a minute ads, especially if you're looking at a video that lasts 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and you've got 30-second ads for a 6-minute video. That's a little too long. That's for sure. But in 2018 and going forward, almost everything will be down to 6 seconds. I think they've noticed that 6-second ads don't have time to annoy anybody, and it's quite all right. And I actually like the 6-second ad format. It doesn't have time, and in 6 seconds you can really get your brand out, and you'll know what they were talking about. If you see somebody sitting on the side of a beach with a Corona beer, well, we know what that beer is, and yes, of course, it goes well with 2 feet in the sand where it's hot. So hey everyone, Grapple Pearls, Danny Shortwave and Radio DX, Bobby Burgess, Patrick, Manny, Tim Robinson, Abundant Fun 444. What do we have? Albert Zappa, Stephen Mail, David Walker. If I missed anybody, please say hello now so that I can say hello to you if I missed you in any way. It's always fun to say hello to everybody, and hope everybody's doing well. And hey Christine Bowman, how are you? And nice to have you on board. No problem. We have some if I look at the number of people that are writing in the chat, the number of people that are watching, sometimes there's a lot of background people. Nice to have you here, and hope everybody's well. I got a lot of feedback yesterday of, hey man, are you all right? No news, no videos yesterday. And no, I was taking it easy. Here was a 3-day weekend in Canada, and taking it very, very easy. So I had started to build it up, and I was at some point like, hey, you know what? For one day, why not? Forget it. Who cares? Sorry for the noise here. Somebody's mowing the lawn. It's about 70 Fahrenheit here, 21 Celsius. Hey Adam Guardado, nice to have you here. The cat is sleeping very well in my office right now. You can see his little face on his paws, just like really sleeping like a baby. So that's why the cat's not come over today. And so yesterday I had no videos. I really wanted to, because I did like take all the news items, the stuff, to basically just do my news bulletin. I was thinking, well, at least I'll do a news bulletin. And then at some point it was like, you know what, the hell with it, tomorrow I'll be back. Farney Jr., hello there, nice to have you here. Remember, in an hour and a half time, the Windows Insider Hour coming up today. We'll talk about the latest build of Windows 10, so you can join us on the Insider channel. It's always nice to have everybody on board. And so we'll talk about build 16.199 that came out. Apart from that, nothing special. Interesting discussion, I gotta say. I had an interesting discussion with a friend of mine. We were talking about live shows that I do and everything. And sometimes it's good to have somebody that's out of what you're doing to kind of ask you questions that you suddenly realize, huh, yeah, okay, you're kind of right. And so it made me have a lot of reflection upon what I'm doing. So there will be maybe an impact, but I'll talk about it when I decide to see what I do, for sure. Apart from that, for everybody that is waiting, we'll have, of course, a From the Couch show on Thursday, as usual. So nice to have everybody here. Nice to have everybody here. And Paul the Cat is sleeping. So take care. Abundant fun, and see you in the Insider Show. So nothing much more to say here. What else do we have? Microsoft had an event today in Shanghai. Very interesting. The Microsoft event today in Shanghai, they have announced stuff, but there is a very, very funny thing here about how we couldn't get the stream. They were streaming it online apparently. Stream was horrible, and some of the streams were even blocked. So I don't know. It's like every news website was getting little bits here and there of what Microsoft has announced. We know there's a Windows 10 Chinese government version. We know of a Windows, the new Surface Pro laptop. They removed the number for now. It's not a Surface Pro 5 anymore. It's just a Surface Pro, and that's it. What else do we have? Announced, of course, a new pen, much better pen than what was there before. Surface Pro laptop, by the way, no fans. Gabrielle's always telling me how when he's gaming there's a lot of noise because of the fans. Well, no fans in that new one. With the Kaby Lake CPU. 13.5 hours of battery time. That's pretty amazing for a PC. And we'll be checking out of any other little announcements and things that might arise there. So hey everybody, I'm going to take a little break to eat a little something. I'm kind of very hungry. And we'll be back in an hour and 20 minutes, and we will talk about the Windows Insider program, Windows Insider build, and hope you guys can join in on the Windows Insider channel. Thank you all for being here. Passed really quickly. It's every time it's like that. Time just flies. It's just amazing. So 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 2200 hours UTC. And it's interesting. And Grapple Pearls, the Google Photos is very, very nice. Very, very nice. And it's really really kind of cool to see it appear. What I particularly liked about the Google Photos, because it's one thing that I always wonder. You go somewhere and you see a flower, and you're thinking, what is that flower? With lens, you'll simply point your phone at it, and it's like, oh, that is a daisy. It's like, oh, cool. So there's a Google Photos, pretty nice, and actually, it is something that I want to talk about within my channel. How to use Google Photo and use it well. And yes, it is more advanced than Microsoft Photos app. It's a very, very nice little thing. Yes, that I saw an example yesterday. Leo Laporte of the Twit Network actually showed one of the albums. He ordered a photo book with his favorite pictures, and looks beautiful, beautiful. So cooking video time. I'm not sure. I'll see, depending on what I do to eat. So yes, the Google Lens stuff is super cool. That probably, I think that those were the best announcements at the Google I/O conference. I can tell you that. That of course, there's a little things like with it's very very interesting to see also the little modules for really cloud computing that are just amazing. So pretty cool. Grateful Pearls, it looked fantastic. It looks so nice actually that I was thinking, you know what, I want to have one of those albums. He had two versions, the soft cover and a hard covered version. And you know what, it was beautiful. You can even have these panoramic pictures. So for example, one of them that he had was panoramic with two pictures, and they put it, it was showing on the page that they were both on a page that you open, and they were actually like converged together in the middle of the book, and it was beautiful. What he showed was absolutely beautiful. And what he was saying also about that is that if you are a little difficult in picking good pictures, he said that he tried the option of, for example, wedding pictures, and he said all the pictures that Google Photos actually was suggesting were almost all the pictures that he would have chosen by himself because they're so beautiful. So it's really, really, really nice. Really, really nice. And yep. There's the Google Photos is very, very, very beautiful, and it's way more advanced than pretty much anything. Very, very, very nice for that, of course. And it's cool because it removes one of the biggest problems with pictures is that a lot of people look at pictures and say, hey, I love this picture, but man, I'd remove that from this picture. I'd remove that from this picture. So it's very very nice because it makes doing things like that very, very simple, even to people that just don't know how to do it. No more Photoshop, basically. As for the hard and soft cover, both looked very nice, but of course, if I order one, I'd probably take hard cover because it kind of makes it better. But both were very nice. Both of them would be very beautiful to have. But I did like the hardcover a little more. But I do have a preference for that. When I go to a store, there's a soft and a hardcover of a book. I often like to have a hard-covered book for some reason. But both were beautiful. And the examples he showed yesterday was very, very nice. That was on his Twig show. Yeah, This Week in Google. If you go on the Twit network, twit.tv, search for Google, This Week in Google from last week, and you will see the results that he was showing everybody. Very, very nice. So, hey everybody, take care. We're back in an hour and 15 minutes with the Windows Insider Show, 6 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. Hope you can join us. Thanks everybody for being here. Always nice to have everybody on board. Thank you, Tim, for sharing the links. And it's if you're not joining us, A. Douglas Elliott, forgot to say hello to you. If you it's very, very nice to have you on board yet. So I'm just looking at a question from Grail Plurals. And so what I gotta say is if you can make it to the Insider Show, remember, From the Couch, coming up Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, with my nephew Gabriel. And of course, Retro Gaming Hour, 7:30 p.m. Thursday. I believe what I saw, what they were showing was matte finish, but I do think you got glossy finish if you want to also. So, but both are fantastic Ripple Pearls. And you know what? I thought it was such a cool thing and so beautiful that at some point I will probably order one, and I'll make a video and show you guys what and tell you what I think. So take care, everybody, and see ya in an hour and 15 minutes when those Insider Show. Bye. And even if you don't like the Insider program or aren't that interested, great people in the chat room to talk to. Why not just, really nice to have everyone on board. Bye, and see you in an hour and 15 minutes, or Thursday, or next week. We are here. This was Live Tech Show 78, May 23rd, 2017. And helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com is where you can send your questions during the week. Bye, everyone. Thank you for being here. See you later. Love ya.